Get caught up in the feeling. I find your touch so intriguing. And maybe it's unusual, but baby, it's only.
Today I'm joined with Charles Darling, who has just released his new single, Electric Blue. Firstly, thank you, Charles, for joining me on my channel, and congratulations on the release of your new single.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Charles Darling. I'm Charles Darling. Hello.
So you've just released your first single, Electric Blue. Would you like to tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so this is the first song I've done on my own. It's also the first song I produced, so I produced it myself. It's kind of inspired by that, you know, when people say, oh, we were getting along so well, I felt a kind of spark between us. That's sort of the whole idea of the song, and what it's sort of a, I was kind of thinking, what would it be like if you could physically see that? Because I think, generally speaking, love as a concept is quite a weird one, you know, because some people believe in love at first sight, others don't. Some people have drastically different ideas of what love is. And I thought, what would it be like in a world where there was kind of no speculation, you could physically see it? And I mean, if I'm honest, that's something I kind of thought about after it was written. The original idea is like, yeah, what if you could see love for real? And I just sort of exploring that, because I like kind of writing about moments instead of, yeah, I'm not entirely sure why, but I never particularly write about like a year-long period of time. I generally am more excited by kind of something that happens over the course of like 3 seconds or something. I'm not entirely sure why, but yeah, it's sort of based on that kind of feeling.
No, I really like the energy behind it, so I really enjoyed it. And your voice is incredible as well.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
So how did you find the process of creating the song?
It was really, really weird. I decided that that I was going to go into the studio to have something mixed and mastered, but I hadn't decided like exactly what I was going to do.
Yeah.
So I started the song after I'd already decided and booked the mixing mastering date. Mm-hmm. So I had the idea, and I wrote it on an acoustic guitar and just did the lyrics first. And then something that was quite interesting is I sort of finished the song. It took me a while to get it to a point I was happy with melodically and lyrically. And then when I got to kind of figuring out the personality of the song, I was kind of dissatisfied, because I felt like I liked it, but it felt like it was missing something. And you'll know, as you've heard it, it begins with a kind of dark sounding, like riffy thing. And it was actually about like 1 a.m. I was about to go to sleep and I couldn't get the melody out of my head. So I had to like wake myself up, go over to my computer, record it, and then go back to sleep. So like I've always been interested when people have told me stories about kind of spontaneous creativity, because I've never really experienced it myself. Like someone told me that Paul McCartney, one of his songs, I can't remember which one it was, but he dreamt it, I think is the story. And that just baffled me, because I'd never experienced it. But yeah, the riff and kind of the whole energy for the song, I feel like I can't really take credit for, because it just sort of popped into my head at, you know, late at night when I was supposed to be sleeping. So yeah, then that's pretty much it. I did the production. That took a little while, and then I went to the studio and had it finished. And I was very, very, you know, pernickety about the mix. So I'm not going to tell you how many mixes it was, but it wasn't 2.
No, it's great to hear how the process came, like what you're saying about it being from a dream. That's very interesting to hear. So what got you into creating music?
again, I feel like that's something I can't really take credit for. When I was little, like really little, I can't really remember what started it, but my parents took me to do kind of drama and acting. I think it was to kind of give me and my siblings confidence. But yeah, so I've always done like drama in general since I was very, very young, like 3 or 4. And then my primary school did musicals. We did Shakespeare in musical form, which sounds really weird. It's actually quite fun. And when I was 11, I finally got the main part in one of the plays. It was a musical version of Macbeth. It sounded very silly, if I'm honest. But yeah, I think that was the point where I kind of felt like, I remember when I was 11 and I was doing that, my director / teacher at the time had to pull me aside before she put up the casting notice. And she said, I fully intend on giving you quite an important role, but I need to know that you're going to be mature enough and like take it seriously and be able to do it properly. Okay. And I think, you know, as I look over the course of my life thus far, there have been various points where basically someone has told me I need to grow up and be a bit more, take things a bit more seriously and stop messing around. And I can think of another one. I was having an argument with a very, very close friend of mine about how I wasn't pulling my weight, you know, and I needed to, I think the word he used was I was doing myself a disservice by being lazy. I was capable of far more than I was doing. But yeah, to answer your question, I think really the point that I started taking music in general seriously, it was when I was 11 and my teacher was telling me that I was at kind of a crossroads, you know, I could keep messing around and just drift through maybe the rest of my life, or I could decide to act like more mature than I was to kind of do stuff. Because even though it was a kind of kid's version, you know, in hindsight, it was a lot of lines for an 11-year-old to learn. And I'm almost kind of shocked that I was able to, because as well, it was I'm kind of getting off track, but I think this is slightly interesting. It was a mixture of kind of colloquialized versions of the script, but it also had some of the original monologues in. So I had to do proper Shakespearean monologues when I was 11. And you know, when you look at it, I understand why my teacher said I needed to be mature to be able to do it. But she was a very, very good teacher, and she really helped me kind of progress as a human being, but then, you know, as an extension with music. So yeah, I think it was probably being told I was immature when I was 11. And I think that's what sparked it off, to be honest.
Oh, that sounds great. So who are your biggest influences?
There's kind of every musician I know can't handle this question. So I'm going to answer it in a bunch of ways instead of just saying I can't think of anyone. For the specific record, I was influenced by movie trailers. The concept when I was coming up with it was I really wanted to write something like what you hear in a film trailer, because it has that gravitas and it has that level of intensity, and it's so exciting and it makes you want to go see the film, and a lot of that is the music behind it. So I wanted to see what it would be like to kind of write a pop song type thing smashed together with, you know, the intensity of a movie trailer. So that's not a specific person, but conceptually that's what kind of inspired the song. And also Panic at the Disco I found kind of inspiring, and I was saying in another interview I did, I think The Greatest Showman soundtrack kind of influenced the song a little bit without me really realizing. But in general, the reason I'm able to play any instruments is down to the Beatles. They were kind of, I'm not as big a fan of the Beatles as many people I know. I like them, but I'm not a fanatic. But yeah, I owe them a lot in terms of being able to play anything. You know, I could always sing, but in terms of instruments and writing, The Beatles were a huge influence, and kind of so were McFly, because when I first kind of picked up a guitar, I was very interested by the kind of stuff they were doing, particularly their live stuff. So yeah, there's kind of like 5 people. I don't know how well that's answered it, but
that's good. All right. So you just kind of mentioned that you play the guitar, but I know that you play both guitar and piano. Which was the hardest to learn, and why?
I am better at guitar than piano, 100%. So it's not the best comparison, but so I think guitar's harder, but it's probably because I'm better at it. Like I'm really, really mediocre at piano. So I think piano is more difficult. Probably, I don't know. It's hard to answer, because if I didn't already play guitar when I started to learn piano, it would have been so much harder than it was. I think, an understanding of music theory and how instruments work makes it much easier to pick up another one. Because the first instrument I actually learned to play was bass guitar. That's not true. First instrument I learned to play was drums when I was really young, because still in primary school, I got my parents. I think my teacher kind of called my parents or something, and they said, we're a bit bothered that Charlie has trouble concentrating, and he's always kind of like, fidgeting and tapping and stuff. And maybe it's because he needs some sort of outlet. What do you think to giving him drumming lessons so that he can tap around on all the drums instead of tapping on the desk in lessons? So yeah, I think I actually learned bass guitar first. And I found guitar far harder, but it was because I knew less about music when I learned it.
Okay.
So yeah, this is a kind of boring answer, but they're both very difficult in different ways, but they're also, attainable in their own individual ways. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
Yeah, no, definitely. So finally, can you tell us what's next for you?
Sure. I don't want to give too much away, but I'm short term. I've got something coming out very, very soon, depending on when this is posted, but I think I know when it's posted. So yeah, it will be very, very soon, which I'm so excited about. But at the time of filming this, I'm really stressed about, because it's really, really hard to do. But yeah, I've got something coming out really soon that I'm so excited to share. And then long term, I will be releasing more music, and I have some big plans, with what I'm going to do with that as well. But yeah, I don't want to dig myself a hole and say too much. So yeah.
I'm looking forward to whatever it is that's coming out. So
Thank you. I can't wait for it to be out. Yeah, the thing that when you're watching, the thing that's coming out soon, I'm so excited about. So yeah.
Sounds good. But no, a massive thank you, Charles, for joining me on my channel.
My pleasure.
Congratulations again on the release of your single Electric Blue. If
Thank
anyone
you.
does want to check it out, I'll leave all the links in the description below so they can find it and everything.
Fantastic.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you too.
Just as real as you perceive it. You know true love when you feel it. And baby, it's so beautiful. So we're right inside when I'm